we're going to do something a little bit different. I did a poll on Twitter a few weeks ago and asked you guys what you wanted to see. I hadn't done a Q&A video in a while, so I figured I would ask you guys what you wanted to see, and I gave you a few options and you guys voted for a get ready with me answering frequently asked questions. So yes, I will be doing my makeup. I am actually getting ready to go to work. I am doing a 3-day trip. I'm starting a 3-day trip. So I figured why not just answer your questions while I'm getting ready. So I've never done a get ready, like a chatty get ready with me. So I hope this turns out okay and I am able to answer all of your questions. So I've already straightened my hair. My hair is pretty wavy and frizzy. So I have some heat protectant on it and some living proof frizz humidity shield. I love this spray, especially living in Texas and going to Florida with the humidity. This is great. I love this stuff. Anyway, so let's start getting ready. I have my phone here with me. And if you are a girl or a guy that wears makeup and you want to start doing your makeup while I'm getting ready, then get ready with me. So before I sat down, I moisturized my face with the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Cream. This is one of my favorite moisturizers of all time. It is so gentle. I have really sensitive skin, so this is great for me. And then I also used some eye patches that I've talked about before on my channel. I got these on Amazon. So I've already used that. And let's start with the first question. So the first question I have is, I don't know if you guys want me to say your names or not, so I'm just going to keep your names private just in case. So one of them says, have you got any first job ideas to help my chances of becoming a flight attendant? So I feel like I get this question asked all the time, and you really just need any sort of customer service experience. For example, if you've worked at a bank, I know that's great. I know I used to work at a bank and that's great experience that you can use to be a flight attendant. Disneyland, Disney World, or any sort of theme park. Restaurant helps because, I mean, you are serving, even though our job isn't to primarily serve passengers. I mean, it's part of our job, but we're really there for safety. But, I mean, it's a plus to have that experience under your belt. So I'm going to do my eyebrows first, and I'm going to be using the Anastasia Brow Wiz in Soft Brown. I feel like my Brow Wiz has been doing this a lot lately. Like, it just, the spoolie just like breaks within like the first use. So maybe I'm using it too, maybe I'm like being too harsh with it. I don't know, but I've had to use like another brush to comb my eyebrows. So I'm not really big on like the thick eyebrow look or anything like that. So I try to do very natural, just kind of fill in my eyebrows and just follow the natural shape of my brows. It doesn't really take me that long to do my eyebrows. I mean, it can, but I'm not picky with them, so it really doesn't take that long for me. I know for some people, especially like if you watch a lot of beauty videos, you know that they will always say, oh, I did my eyebrows off camera because it takes me forever to do my eyebrows. For me, it really doesn't take that long. Okay, another question that I get pretty often is, what do you do to become a flight attendant? How do you become a flight attendant? So the way I did it is, whenever I decided to become a flight attendant, I wrote down every airline I could think of, and I went on their website to see if they were hiring. So I just went to like the career section, and if they had an open position, I would apply for it, and then just waited for all of them to call me back. I never like was part of any like website that would let me know when flight attendant positions were open, but like I said, I just sat down one night and just applied to all of the airlines that I can think of that were hiring at the time. And another question that I get asked pretty often is if you need to go to flight attendant school to become a flight attendant. I will say no. I know a few people that have gone to flight attendant school and paid the money and regret it. They regret spending the money on flight attendant school because when you go through flight attendant training, when you get hired by an airline, you have to go through their training and pass their training, whether you've gone to flight attendant school or not. So a lot of the times, that just makes you look better on paper, and it just makes training a little bit easier, but it's not necessary. Training is stressful, but it is not like impossible to pass. I feel like if you go in and you focus on what you're supposed to be doing and you're not out like partying and stuff, then you can definitely pass training with no problem and just study and you'll be fine. I'm using the Becca backlighting primer. My skin has been looking very tired and plain lately, so I just need something to make me look a little bit more awake. So I'm gonna start just doing my makeup, and if I don't mention what I'm using, I will leave everything in the description box below. That way I don't get distracted with the products. So for my foundation, I'm using the It Cosmetics Your Skin But Better CC Plus Cream. This is my favorite foundation of all time. I've talked about it many times. I've gone through many tubes of these, and I am in the shade Light. But again, I'm not even gonna talk about the makeup anymore. I'm gonna leave everything in the description box, and I'm just gonna get into the questions. Okay, so another question I get asked a lot is how much flight attendants make. And I have never really talked about this on my channel because I've never really wanted to disclose that information, not because, you know, I don't want to, but because I think it's a very private matter because I am married, and that is also my husband's like private life too. So like a lot of people want to know how much flight attendants make, and I don't blame them. I mean, that was one of the things I wanted to know when I first became a flight attendant. But I will tell you that when you hear single flight attendants talk about their money issues, they are not lying at all. Flight attendants make about $20 to $27 an hour, $30 an hour, $35 an hour, depending on how long you've been with the company. So when you first start with an airline, you're not going to make much money. You really are going to be tight. I remember my classmates, they would struggle for a few months. They would live off of instant soup and just eat food from the plane because they really couldn't afford to buy food, because they weren't working much, because you're on call, you're on reserve, you don't get to make your own schedule. So unless you have some sort of second income, like a husband, like I do, or you know, a second job, or any sort of other income, whether you do whatever it is that you do, it will be hard. So I know I talked to you guys about talking about the subject, and my situation is a little bit different. I am able to cut back on my schedule. I am able to limit my hours because I have the support of my husband. So I have the support of my husband, and my husband makes his own income, and because of that we are able to make some sacrifices. Now if I was a single mom, I feel like it would be a little bit harder. Depending on the help that I had, whether I had family close by, you know, I don't know, it all varies on your situation. It's really hard for me to tell you this is how it is, because unless I know your situation, I can't really tell you what to do when it comes to that. But I do want to let you guys know that if you are in this for the money, if you're looking to become a flight attendant for the money, this is the wrong job for you, because you are not going to be rich unless you have some sort of other income. This is not where you're going to make, you know, a lot of money. You can make good money, but you're working a lot. I've had really good months and I've had really bad months. So this month, for example, today's payday for us, and my check isn't looking that great because I didn't work much last month. But I'm not struggling as much because, like I said, I have a husband. And I feel like that sounds really bad and really braggy, but I'm not bragging. It's just, I am just showing you my perspective and my situation. Does that make sense? I don't want you guys to think, oh, you know, she has a husband or whatever. No, it's just, I'm telling you guys, it's different when you're married and when you are a single flight attendant. So if I was single, there's no way I would be able to be okay based on that check. So yeah, definitely believe the other flight attendants when they are telling you that they are struggling financially for a few months, because it is very true. It sounds like we make a lot of money when I tell you we make $30–$35 an hour, depending on how long you've been with the company and which airline you work for. But because we're not working 40 hours a week, it doesn't add up the same. One thing you have to keep in mind is that some airlines don't pay you overtime. Some airlines don't pay protect you. Some airlines don't have incentives like that. So, for example, I know of airlines that don't do it. But if their flights get canceled, you're also not getting paid for that flight. I, however, get pay protected if my flight gets canceled. If I get rerouted, I get pay protected. And if I work over 85 hours, I get overtime. Anything over 85 hours is overtime. So I definitely have to let you guys know that, you know, money isn't the same for every airline. It does vary, and I would definitely recommend you guys do your research. I can't sit here and tell you how much certain airlines make, because I don't want to discourage you or encourage you to go to a specific airline. That's not what I'm here for, which is why I know a lot of you ask me to make videos based on, I know a lot of you guys have asked me to make a video talking about the different airlines and comparing airlines, and I won't be doing that because, like I said, I don't want to encourage you or discourage you from making a decision and going to a specific airline. That's not what I'm here for, but you can definitely go online and look up the pay grades for flight attendants. Okay, and another question I get asked a lot is which airline I work for. And I have said it many times, and I think this is actually the last time I'm ever going to speak of this. Whether some of you might agree with me or not, airlines have some social media policies. My airline does, and I can guarantee you the other airlines do too. I can guarantee that to you. I am very careful with what I say and do, because I am showing you my life as a flight attendant. Allie, my life as a flight attendant. Okay, so another question I get asked is, are you ever scared or nervous on your job sometimes? I'm not gonna lie, there have been times where I've been a little scared. When I first started this flight attendant journey, I was actually scared of landing. Landing used to scare me, and after doing it so many times, I just got used to it. And a lot of people ask me, oh, how do you know, I'm scared of flying. How can I get over that fear? How can I get over the fear of flying if I want to be a flight attendant? Is this the right job for me? Well, it depends on how big your fear is. My fear, for example, was landing. I used to be really terrified of landing. Landing used to make me nervous. I don't know why. It just did. It just did. I don't know. I was just terrified of landing. And now that, you know, I've been doing it for a while, I'm not scared of landing. I feel like when I became a flight attendant, I went in with the mentality, well, if this is what you want to do, you're going to have to get over it. And after doing it so many times, it just becomes normal to you. Oh, we landed, we're on the ground, or hey, we took off, or oh, just a little bit of turbulence. So it all depends on how big your fear is. I don't want to say, oh, it's all in your head, because I suffer from anxiety, and I hate when people say, oh, it's all in your head, it's all in your head. I don't like saying that, but I feel like with this, it is kind of in your head. It's not an irrational fear, because accidents do happen from flying, aviation accidents, so it's not irrational. But I mean, you can kind of find whatever helps you get over the fear. So like I said, for me, I told myself I had to get over it. I had to get over the fear of flying if I wanted to become a flight attendant, and I did. I did. And in training, they kind of show you videos of everything that can happen on an airplane. So I kind of became desensitized to it. And I will watch videos sometimes. I don't think all flight attendants are this way, but I mean, I am. It's just, I had to desensitize myself from that. Okay, I had to start over because my camera overheated. It's been doing that a lot lately, and a lot of you guys asked me what camera I use, and I use the Sony A5000, and I've never had issues with it. I actually really like it. It's just, it's really bulky, and it's just, it overheats, and I don't like that. So I am actually going to start saving up for a new camera just so I can give you guys like better videos, like better quality videos, and it doesn't overheat. Like I had to wait a few minutes for it to turn back on, so hopefully it doesn't turn off again. But another question I get asked is if you can go to school and be a flight attendant at the same time. So when you're first starting off, I wouldn't recommend it because you are owned by crew scheduling. Crew scheduling owns you. You are on reserve, and you are a junior flight attendant, so you don't really have a say in your schedule at all. If anything at all, you don't really have a say. So it's going to be really hard. So I plan on going back to school pretty soon. I don't know when, but pretty soon. And I can do it now because I have the seniority to do it. I am able to drop, swap, and pick up if seniority lets me. So I will be able to do it for a little bit, but I mean, it's not the same case for, that's not the case for every other airline. And I would highly recommend that if you want to get school out of the way, I would go to school first. I'm not going to discourage you from going to school, but I mean, once you finish school, you can always go and be a flight attendant. I know a lot of people that do that. There's a lot of people that have their degrees and then have decided to become flight attendants afterwards. We have nurses, we have retired cops, we have firefighters. So there are plenty of people that have gone to be flight attendants after they got their degrees. Now, the more senior flight attendants, they're the ones that are able to kind of balance school and the flight attendant life. And while we're on this subject, I know a lot of people ask me if it is seniority based for me to pick up and drop my trips. To drop my trips, I can drop them if the reserve grid isn't red. So if the reserve grid is red, that means we don't have enough reserves to cover the base. And if it's green, then we are able to drop it, meaning we have enough reserves. So as long as the reserve grid isn't on red, we are able to drop our trip. Now, if I want to swap my trip for another trip that's on open time, that's what we call it, open time. So that's where we have all the trips that are available for pickup. And as long as no one senior to me picks up that trip, then I will be the one that gets that trip. So I will be awarded that trip. There have been times, however, that I have dropped a trip because I don't want the trip, and then I try to pick up something, and because it's seniority based, I'm unable to pick it up. So then I'm stuck with just a low amount of hours. So what I try to do is I always try to swap for another trip so that I am guaranteed to have a trip no matter what. Again, if I'm trying to swap for another trip, I have to make sure that no one senior to me picks it up. So every day we are able to go online and pick up trips or put in for trips, and then we find out the next day if we picked up the trip or not, if we were awarded the trip or not. Okay, so I just realized how weird I look right now. I know the lighting in here is not the best, and I'm sure you hear an echo, but I promise once I put blush on and mascara and eyeliner, I will look better. Okay, so one question that I get asked, well, it's like 3 different questions, so I'm just gonna do it all in one. It's about height, weight, and age to be a flight attendant, and there's no specific number as far as your weight goes. You have to be able to fit into the jump seat. You have to be able to fit through the emergency exit window, and you have to be able to perform your job. So your weight cannot get in the way of your job. As far as height, I know very short people that are flight attendants. I know someone that's 5 foot tall and they're flight attendants. You just have to be able to close the overhead bins and reach for the emergency exit doors depending on the airline. Some airlines will make you do a height test, so when you go to the airline interview, you will have to reach for the overhead bins or for, you know, an exit door. And then as far as your age, I know plenty of older flight attendants. There's flight attendants well in their 60s, and I know that there's, you know, the oldest flight attendant, I think she works for American, and she's, I don't even know how old she is. I saw this video on her last time when they were interviewing her, and I know she's like, you know, she's an older lady. So I don't think there's, you know, an issue. As long as you can perform your duties, you're fine. I know there's a minimum age, and some airlines will hire you if you're under 21. I know it's like the smaller airlines, like regional airlines, will hire you if you're under 21. And then if you're over 21, you can work for certain airlines. Most airlines in the United States require you to be 21. I don't know how it is in Europe or the Middle East, Australia. Another question I get asked is how my husband deals with me being a flight attendant. I have mentioned this before. My husband actually is the reason why I'm a flight attendant. When my husband got out of the military, he actually suggested that I looked into being a flight attendant. He suggested that while we were on vacation one time, and I was like, no, I don't want to be a flight attendant. But then I started looking into it, and I just became obsessed with the idea of becoming a flight attendant. So here I am. And so the way we deal with me being a flight attendant is he either follows me on my layovers, and I mean, I'm home a lot during the week, so every night I'm home during Monday through Friday, and we try to take a lot of trips together. In the summer, we try to make it a thing to go on vacation together, just the two of us. So our son goes with his grandparents, and I had someone ask me once on one of my videos, like, why my son didn't go with us on vacation. And I mean, I still have to give time to my husband too. My son gets all of our attention all the time, but you know, I still need to dedicate some time to my husband, and he needs to dedicate time to me. It's how you make a relationship work. So we try to spend a lot of time together while my son is in school. We will go out for breakfast together, we will go out for lunch together, and we constantly text. Ever since my husband and I started dating, we would text constantly. We have very good communication with each other. We've always been able to carry a conversation for hours, and we don't get tired of talking to each other. So that's something that has helped out my relationship and balancing, you know, the flight attendant life as well. We're going on 8 years of marriage in January, so that's going to be our 8th wedding anniversary. So I feel like us always trying to spend time together is very important. We've made that a priority. Okay, so I'm going to do some eyeliner, and that is the one thing I cannot do and talk at the same time. So I'm using the Kat Von D Trooper eyeliner. And I don't have a specific way of, well, no, I actually do have a specific way of doing my eyeliner. I just make a line and then just draw it in and just fill it in. I don't like a dramatic wing or anything. So my eyeliner is looking a little weird. I'm having trouble getting this side right. So I always go in with some micellar water or makeup remover. I use the Bioderma and then just some like sharp Q-tips and just kind of sharpen out the wing a little bit. Okay, another question I get asked is if my airline pays for my hotel, and yes, the airlines do pay for your hotels. Another thing I get asked is when we get paid, if we get paid hourly, if we have a salary. So we get paid hourly, and we are paid for every hour that the door is closed. So any time that we are on the airplane and the door is open, we are not getting paid. Boarding, we are not getting paid. Deplaning, we are not getting paid. As soon as you see that boarding door close, that's when we start getting paid. So if we are at the airport, like if we are delayed at the airport and we're just sitting down, if you ever see flight attendants just sitting down killing time, usually that means we are not getting paid. We're delayed, canceled, whatever. And we are we only get what's called per diem, and per diem can be between $2, $3, depending on the airline that you work for, per hour that you are away from base. Per diem can be an extra $400 a month. It really does make a difference on our check, or on my check at least. Okay, can you be pregnant while being a flight attendant? Yes, you can. My friend worked up until she was 8 months, 8.5 months, almost 9 months. It depends on your pregnancy. It depends on what your doctor is telling you. Every pregnancy is different. Every pregnancy is different. You can't compare your pregnancy with somebody else's pregnancy because you don't know, the status or the state of someone's pregnancy. So please don't judge a woman if they are working while pregnant. You don't know their situation. So if you are a flight attendant and you are planning on becoming pregnant, I would talk to your doctor and see what they say. If your doctor says it's okay, then by all means, fly. If your doctor says it's not okay, then don't fly. But yes, you can definitely be a flight attendant while you are pregnant. I get asked if I plan on having any more kids, and yes, I want to have more kids. We want to have 1 or 2 more. We are both 26 years old, and we want to have all of our kids before we're 30. We don't want to have kids after 30. No offense if you do, it's just we want to do things differently. Like people say they want to party in their 20s, or they want to travel and do stuff like that when they're in their 20s. We want to do that stuff. I mean, we're not party people. I don't like to party. I don't like clubs. I don't like any of that, but nothing wrong if you do. I just don't like them. We want to do that when we're older. Like we want our kids to be like in college and stuff, out of the house by the time we're in our 40s. That's when we want to do our stuff. So I know people want to do it in their 20s, and when they're younger, we want to do it later on in our life. So yeah, we do plan on having more kids. And do I plan on being a flight attendant if I have more kids? Yes, I do, but I don't know what life is going to be like. I don't know how my life is going to be. So anyway, okay, so I'm just going to put on some setting spray. I'm using the Too Faced Peach Mist Mattifying Setting Spray. I actually don't like this setting spray at all. I don't mind the matte look, but this makes me look way too matte. It like dries me out completely. It does make my makeup last a long time, but I don't like it. And it smells like peach. I don't really mind the peach smell, but it's not my favorite at all. So okay, so I think I'm gonna answer one last question, and then I'll let you guys go. I'm sure you guys are bored of seeing me put on my makeup. But hey, you guys asked for this. I asked you guys what you wanted to see, and this is what you guys wanted to see. So if you guys ever have any video suggestions, just let me know, because I really do take them into consideration, and I do write them down. So definitely put them, down below. I do plan on expanding my channel more and doing more mommy related stuff and home stuff, like cleaning stuff. I know you guys have asked for those, but I will probably put those on a different day. So if I do, like, Sundays are my uploading days, that will be mostly like flight attendant related stuff. And if I do anything like that, it will probably go up on a Saturday or something. So okay, could you talk more about what exactly a flight attendant does on a flight, and what the difference between the different positions are on a plane? So for example, so our job is to pretty much arm the doors, disarm the doors, and make sure that you guys get serviced, and we are taking care of all the passengers, making sure they're safe, looking for emergency situations, and we are there to make sure we can evacuate the aircraft in 90 seconds in case of an emergency. And we all have different jobs to do, so we distribute all of these things. I mean, every flight attendant is responsible for the passengers. Every flight attendant is responsible for making sure you are fed, and every flight attendant is there to make sure that you are safely evacuated from the plane. But there are certain things like setting up the galley, setting up the carts, and briefing exit rows and stuff like that, making all the announcements. Anyway, that concludes this video. My battery is about to die. This camera is overheating like crazy. I need to new camera, but it's gonna be a while and I need the lighting and stuff. I am not a beauty guru. As you can tell, I don't have the lights, I don't have the equipment. However, I do want to invest in my channel and I do want this to grow, so little by little you guys will get better quality videos. And thank you guys so much for suggesting me to do a get ready with me answering your questions. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you guys want to see something like this again. I know a lot of you guys like to see makeup videos. I know a lot of girls follow me, and sorry for some of you that don't like the makeup videos, but I'm trying to please everyone and give you guys a little bit of what you want. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, or if it's your first time here, make sure you subscribe before you leave. Don't forget to like this video if you like it, and let me know what else you guys want to see. Leave me comments in the description box, ask me any more questions, and I'll try my best to get back at you or get back to you, and maybe other people will also answer your questions if I can't get to them. Especially the one that gets asked a lot is how to get over the fear of flying. That is something that is a little bit hard for me to answer because I can't really relate to that, besides the fear of landing before. But anyway, maybe some of you guys can help others that have that fear, and leave any tips down below how you get over the fear of flying and the anxiety. And again, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.